Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. Look, I've mentioned that I've been out here for over 40 years talking about the same kinds of things. And many of you might ask, why have I been out here for so long? And it's because I've heard of men who were good men who were nice and kind. In fact, I've heard of great men. And hearing that, I would like to be known or recognized as being one amongst those men. Somebody whose life really had value. Someone who brought benefit to the human race. And so this is what I've been trying to do all of these 40 some years. Doesn't mean I've been perfect, but I've been trying to move toward that direction. The reason, ladies and gentlemen, I commit myself to this is that I was supposed to have died as a teenager, but a miracle occurred. That miracle brought me into an understanding, a knowledge that there is a power that's bigger than all humankind, and that power is responsible for all of those other things that humankind have nothing to do with. And so human beings being on earth have been given a part to play in that process, but the process, to me, is by the manifestation of that power that is responsible for all this other stuff. And so I just had to recognize that. So that tells me that I have a duty, I have a responsibility to that power that saved me. And what is that responsibility? That is to come to the aid, the benefit, rescue of people who are in situations just like myself, but God have allowed them to continue to exist so that people like me and others could come to their rescue, to give evidence that I acknowledge that there's a God, to give evidence that my faith is strong enough to go beyond the fear of whatever it might be that keep people from doing what they need to do. And I've been talking about basic human rights for all people. I used to talk about love ministry, life of victory eternal. I talked about the moment of truth. I talked about paradise on earth unlimited. And now basic human rights. All of these things. One thing about it is that the whole matter didn't matter what title it was under. It was to free people, to give people the knowledge of truth so that they can make the decision as to walk in freedom or not. And when I think about some of the great men, I want to think about those that we acknowledge at home. That was Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. There were others, Medgar Evers and the brothers and white people that died for the struggle. But I just mentioned these because their names are known. So to me, that's absolutely fantastic. But amongst all of the great men that I've heard of, outstanding was Jesus Christ. Now, people when I was a kid, I believed in that Jesus Christ, and I believe that whole story. But as an adult, and see how people are, understanding how people are, understanding how deceitful and liars and whatever negative people are, and how people try to discredit the story of Jesus Christ. Well, it doesn't matter to me whether Jesus Christ existed or not. If it's nothing but a story, it's the best story that I've ever heard in my life. And if there's going to be one person that I would like to emulate, it would be Jesus Christ. Why? Because Jesus was a lover. He told us about, that story told us about the world that we live in, told us about the ups and downs, and told us how you make the choice about life over death. And so to me, that's absolutely fantastic. Now, as I think about the times that I talk about America, or talking about black people being free from the oppression of white people, my message now is not just that. It's about white people being free, black and white people being free in this country to live as though they're in heaven. But that is even in itself is restrictive. If I am to be the voice that represents the Jesus that I know of or that I would like to believe existed, it wouldn't just be with Americans. It'll be people everywhere, wherever people are oppressed, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in South America, whether it's in China, whether it's in Russia, whether it's North Korea, wherever, India, wherever people are suffering. the message of love says, I want to free you. I want you to know the truth. And so this is basically the reason why I do the things that I do, ladies and gentlemen, and have been doing it for so long. So when I come to you and say that we can live as though we are in heaven, though we're on earth, I come with you not just with words, but I've envisioned how that would happen. You know, we got all kinds of governmental systems. And every governmental system that exists on the earth today does not eliminate the pain and suffering that people go through. And so if you're going to talk about freeing people, you think about a system that would free people from all of the various oppressive governments on the land that I know about. And so when I think about that, I pray, I say, give me some sign, give me some understanding of how it happens. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, it's easy. Everybody on earth benefits from something on earth. So to me, the way to bring about that possibility, to create that out of a possibility, is to engage everybody in the process of creating the things that people have determined are essential. Every last one of us, with that proper time. You know, babies can't do it. Old people are sick and they can't do it. But if you got the help, you can do it. And what is that? Work. Have a career. But the magnificent thing about having a career is that you also have the choice of the career that gives you your greatest joy. So you're not just working. You're not just doing something for somebody else. You're doing it for yourself. You're getting joy and happiness out of what you're doing. And as you do what you're doing, you're creating enough for everybody. And you're not doing it for money, because there is no money. You're doing it because this is a life. You're doing it because it's the heavenliness that you want and desire. And what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, you say, well, how do you survive? This is how you survive. Out of your engagement in that process, you are making sure that you got a beautiful home just like you want it. But not just you. Everybody got a home, whatever kind they want. And you know what? It's theirs because they are workers. You're there because you're a worker. You're being paid as a worker. You got a home, transportation of your choice that you got. Why? Because you're a worker. You don't have to worry about how much it costs. It doesn't cost you anything but to be a worker. You got access to education. You don't have to worry about cost because it is yours because you're a worker. It's unlimited. It's unrestricted. Healthcare. Even Donald Trump's folks, the people who have been called redneck, trailer park, or ghetto folks, whatever you want, you don't have to live that way anymore, because you've got a wonderful job or career that gives you your greatest happiness, gives you your greatest joy, and as a benefit on top of all of that, ladies and gentlemen, you got the most beautiful cities, the most beautiful towns, the most beautiful states, the most beautiful countries that you can imagine. And guess what? It doesn't cost you anything except living, except enjoying your life. You know what? You don't have to lie. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to steal. You don't have to be a racist. You don't have to be a bigot. Ain't no big shots and little shots. There's no superior people to you. There are no guns that's needed in a society like that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, look at me. I mean, this is just a black boy who God has said, you can't die as a teenager. I've brought you here now in your 70s. And I got to stand back and be ashamed because I see things and see life this free, while people are going out here shooting other folks, mad at other folks, cutting them out, cutting them down, hating them, want to take away this, want to take away that. No, ladies and gentlemen, no shame in my game. You ought to be ashamed. If you don't act like these people, you should still be ashamed for putting up with it, allowing them to act that way. So I have no shame in my game. So if you say, Eddie, why you do it? I do it because I want to be recognized with the great men, the great women, the great human beings that have ever walked on the face of this earth. I don't want you just talking about Abraham. I don't want you just talking about Paul and those guys. Talk about Eddie Marcus too. Talk about you, because you woke up one day. You didn't stay asleep and you did something that glorified God. Yeah, my friend, that's what I'm talking to you about. And ain't no shame in my game. So this is what I'm talking to you about today, and this is what I'll be talking to you about on the day that I die, unless we have decided that, hey, that ain't so bad. Maybe we'll do that. To me, that sounds a lot better than what Donald Trump is offering you. And though Joe Biden is offering something a little bit better, it's not as good as this. And so what I'm saying to you, my friends, You're the ones that are accepting anything and everything less than the joy that you pray for every day. Wow. Ain't that something? But it's not because you don't hear it. And I thank God that I am the one that's standing before you, saying it to you for whatever it's worth. God loves you. Bye-bye.